Okay.
I'd like to call this
Yeah, you did.
regular board meeting to order. Roll call.
This is the regular board meeting of Lorain City Schools, Monday, November 16th, 2015, 6:30 p.m. Mr. Demakia.
Yes.
Mr. Fellis.
Good evening, Present.
Mr. Smith. Mr. Sturgill.
Here.
And Mr. Williams.
Pledge of Allegiance.
Hey. Harry, Hull. Howard, Hart. Hart time, Hart. Hogarth, Holt. Hunt, Hayes. Priest, Hunt, Horn.
Good evening. Tonight we will have a student from Lorain Digital Academy who will lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Lexida Ramos is the daughter of Santos Jr. and Kiara Ramos. She has 4 siblings: Victoria, who is a student at GJW, Valerie Ramos, student at Hawthorne, Lelianis and Cariana Morales, both students at Garfield. Lexida is employed at McDonald's. After the pledge, Lexida will speak on how Lorain Digital Academy has helped her.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hunt, Horn. Hart, Hayes. Howard, Hart. Hart time, Hart. Hutter, Holt. Hutter, Holt.
Good evening. My name is Lexida Ramos, and I'm a student at Lorain Digital Academy. I started attending the program in the middle of November in 2014. I came to Ohio as a freshman from Florida. I was struggling academically, and in the time that I spent in Florida, I was held back a grade. Rather than starting the new school year as a sophomore, I had to start the new school year as a freshman. I was really excited to have a brand new start in a new school, but the thought of me being behind really troubled me. When I first started the program, I was really skeptical of how the program will help me achieve the academic requirements that I needed to meet. Knowing that I had areas I was challenged in really bummed me out. The thought I wouldn't be able to overcome these challenges were upsetting. But to my surprise, as time went by, I began to see a giant improvement in the areas I was struggling in the most. Soon enough, my grades started going up, and I saw a difference. I was able to take to full advantage the one-on-one tutoring that I really needed to help me. After just 1 year in the program, I've been able to catch up to the grade level I've been supposed to be in. I've also been able to pass all the OGT tests and complete the credits needed to become a senior this school year. With the help of the staff and tutors, Lorain Digital has helped me to reach my full potential and overcome my academic challenges. Lorain Digital Academy has been a great experience for me.
Because on behalf of the Lorain Board of Education, I would like to present this certificate of participation in our board meeting. Thank you, Lexida.
Very good.
Ladies and gentlemen, an honored guest, our veterans, the Lorain High School Army Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps Honor Guard, under the command of Cadet Major Danielle Price, will now present the Prisoner of War Missing in Action ceremony. The other members of the Honor Guard are Cadet Staff Sergeant Yasmelin Morales, Cadet Staff Sergeant Zamarie Bohannon, Cadet First Sergeant Daniel Seaman, Cadet Major Oswaldo Carrillo, and I am Cadet Command Sergeant Major Aaron Clayton. It is an honor and a privilege to introduce and acknowledge this table. This table pays tribute to all of the prisoners of war missing in action and killed in action from American involvement in World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Grenada, the Persian Gulf Desert Storm, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan, and more. Many of you have looked at this table and wondered. Let me explain. This table, set for 5, symbolizes the frailty of the prisoners against their oppressors. Remember, the tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their country's call to arms. Remember, the single candle displayed in the center of the table is symbolic of the families and the loved ones who kept the faith, waiting for the return of those so dear to them. Remember,
Forward.
the red ribbon tied so prominently on the candle is reminiscent of the red ribbon worn upon the lapels and breast of the many thousand who bear witness to their unyielding determination to demand a proper accounting of our missing and the return of all Americans left on foreign soil. Remember, the lemon on the bread plate reminds us of their bitter fate. Remember, there are salts on the bread plate, symbolic of the tears of the families as they still wait for their loved ones to return. Remember, the glasses are inverted. They cannot toast with us tonight. Remember, the chairs are empty. They are not here. Remember, all of you who have served with them and called them brothers and sisters, who have depended upon them, their might and aid, and relied upon them. Remember them, for surely they have not forgotten you.
In our face.
The story must be told of valor and bold. So let them write it down in history. A young soldier cries for his comrades who died, fighting for a cause that they believed. Nobody's seen or heard a sound. There was no glory for them downtown. We found the last road, standing by the wall of fallen heroes. We tell their mothers that their sons are marching in the sky. Tell them that they're soldiers of the cloud. Please tell them so they know. Tell them that they're soldiers of the cloud.
Ready, head.
The wounds will never heal, and the feelings that they feel left a scar for all the world to see. But the eagle always flies for the men who fought and died, and it flies for all of eternity. But nobody's seen or heard a sound. There was no
Good evening, veterans, families, and members of the board. My name is Cadet Command Sergeant Major Aaron Clayton. On behalf of our superintendent, Dr. Graham, our principal, Mr. Kleiner, and the Lorain High School Army Junior ROTC Honor Guard, under the direction of Lieutenant Colonel Dennis Owen and Sergeant First Class Christy Proy, it is our privilege to present this missing man ceremony today. It is an honor to be here with you all this evening. To our veterans in attendance, thank you for your service and sacrifice to our nation's defense and freedom. Last Wednesday was Veterans Day, a day and time for us to pause and reflect on the contributions our veterans have made and all those who gave the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our country and freedom. American revolutionary Thomas Paine wrote in his pamphlet, Common Sense, "It is not in numbers, but in unity that our great strength lies." Those words are as true today as they were in 1776. The unity that is America springs from one cause, freedom. Generation after generation of Americans have stepped forward to defend this freedom and to preserve the founding principles of this great nation. From Valley Forge to Vietnam, from Kuwait to Kandahar, from Berlin to Baghdad, these patriots have stood watch over America's peace, and when necessary, they have borne the cost of our nation's wars. There are more than 24 million living veterans that are among our nation's finest citizens. They served our country and continue to serve our communities. Through our presentation, we honor all the veterans for their solemn pledge to defend our freedom. We pledge to uphold the legacy by teaching younger generations about their role in securing the blessing of liberty and about how the veterans' courage and sacrifice has shaped our nation's history. In addition, we would like to thank the United States Armed Forces and their families for their dedication, sacrifice, and service to our country. Let us remember those deployed on foreign soil, in harm's way, standing watch on point for our nation around the world. Please pray for our servicemen and women for a safe return home and continued support for them and their mission on the global war on terrorism and protecting our nation's freedom. This concludes our presentation. Again, thank you for inviting us. Have a safe return home. God bless America, and let us never forget.
Hut, hey. Power, heart.
Good evening, President Demakia, Lorain Board of Education members, Superintendent Graham, and Treasurer Weber. I would like to share a brief update of the Lorain Digital Academy. The Lorain Digital Academy, sponsored by Lorain City Schools, is a conversion community school that provides a blended learning environment. The Lorain Digital Academy is guided by our Board of Directors, Mrs. Anderson, who is President, Mrs. Rice, Vice President, and members Mr. Arredondo, Mrs. Knowles, and Mr. Yanneris. The digital staff is guided by or includes our interim executive director, the administrative staff, technology and lab department, and the curriculum and career department. Our mission is to take students at their current levels and provide educational support systems to enable them to meet or exceed state standards. And this occurs through an individualized educational setting, intervention and assistance, addressing unique learning needs via an education plan, access to the curriculum 24 hours, 7 days a week, opportunity to learn at the student's own pace and with additional resources, partnering with parents to help them participate in the learning process, and providing career exploration, planning, and support to students. As you can see, we are moving steadily upward in the number of graduates since the initial graduation class in 2005. We already have one graduate for the 2015-2016 school year, and we're really excited about that. Within the first 10 weeks of the school year, we have had 73 students who have completed one or more classes. This includes 4 students who have completed 7 courses and 2 students who have completed 8 courses. And today we just had a student complete his 9th course. In addition, the Lorain Digital Academy provides extended learning opportunities. These include community building activities, such as our students going to Common Ground for social skills activities and other field trips, physical activities stressing social skills, creativity through video and music projects, special events such as our award ceremonies and our Thanksgiving dinner, and early graduation recognition. We also provide social emotional support from our full-time social worker. Combined with the academic and extended learning opportunities, the Lorain Digital Academy seeks to provide a whole child experience with supports that put our kids first. We thank the Lorain City School District for sponsoring our endeavors, and thank you for allowing us to present to you this evening.
Okay. First hearing of the public.
Is Aaron not speaking? Is Aaron again not speaking?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jay Pickering. I'm the president of Lorain Education Association. I represent the teachers here in Lorain. And next, I have a short thing I'd like to read to you on behalf of the teachers. Okay. First off, on behalf of the teachers, I'd like to congratulate the Board of Education, the treasurer, and the Charleston administrative staff for their success in improving the financial status of the district. The teachers are very proud that with the financial sacrifice, their financial sacrifices over the past 5 years, the district is now, as reported by the treasurer at the last meeting, in unprecedented positive financial shape. We'd also like to take an opportunity to thank the citizens of Lorain for supporting and acknowledging our efforts as teachers in educating their children by passing the recent renewal levy. We'd also like to congratulate 2 of our board members in their successful election bids, Mr. Damachia, back to the school board, Mr. Fallis to city council. And of course, we'd like to congratulate Dale Weber, our treasurer, in his announcement of his retirement at the end of the year, where he can relax a little, play a little golf, and get a break from me, probably.
No smile.
We also take great pride in the fact that many of our parents who might have previously doubted our teachers and our schools have now renewed confidence in us and the schools. This was evidenced at the last board meeting when the treasurer gave his 5-year forecast, where he noted that the previous trend of students leaving for charter and other schools has leveled off, meaning no net increase in students leaving our district. The flow of students from our district to charter and other schools seems to be stable and possibly even decreasing. As many of you know, I personally have attended the majority of the school board and academic distress meetings over the past 3 years and have witnessed an incredible increase in excitement over the efforts being made by the teachers and administration of this district, especially this year. This year, the tone is extremely optimistic. It is a true hope that we, the teachers of Lorain, can, without pause, continue to enthusiastically embrace the future of this district. We're excited to be part of this optimistic time and desire to, without reservation, support this district, this city, and most importantly, its youth in moving forward for a better tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Old business. Report and recommendations of the treasurer.
Number 6, we forgot Tony. Number 6.
Minutes.
The minutes.
Oh, my apologies.
6.01.
I need a motion to approve and amend and sign the minutes for the board meeting held October 27th.
Motion to approve minutes.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
And Mr. Damachia?
Yes. And now, report and recommendation of the treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. President. A few items on the docket this evening. Item 8.01 is to consider approval of a resolution from the Lorain Public Library declaring it necessary to levy a renewal with an increased tax in excess of a 10 mil limitation. And the Lorain Public Library Treasurer Jim Wilson is sitting in the audience in case you have any questions about that levy. By law, we have to put it on the Lorain City Schools docket for approval. 8.02 is my recommendation to approve OASBO as the vendor to facilitate the search for the treasurer of Lorain City Schools. 8.03 is the approval of the October 2015 financial statements. 8.04 is consider approval of the October 2015 purchase orders requiring Board of Education approval. And 8.05 is the consider approval of donations. So I recommend for approval items 8.01, 8.02, 8.03, 8.04, and 8.05.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
And Mr. Damachia?
Yes.
And that's all I had this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Report and recommendations of the superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Lamacchia. First of all, a couple of quick comments. Aaron Gadd was on the agenda to speak on the communications audit that was recently completed and some of our plans that came about as a result. But quite frankly, with the students and their presentation tonight, I just wanted to put her up for another week. That was, I think, very touching, very emotional, and just going to let that sink in. I'd also like to thank and echo Jay Pickering's words on thank the community for their support, and Bambi Dillon for her leadership, and many others, and we'll thank them more publicly and more appropriately down the road. But to pass that renewal level for us was a very big deal, and allows us, and again, Bambi and her team did a great job of leading the entire charge and allowing us to focus on teaching children, which is greatly appreciated, and a tremendous amount of work. But I would like the board to consider the approval of 9.01, which is a contract status. And long story short, it's an adjustment based on, in my opinion, it was a mistake, Dr. Sturgill's responsibilities and his title are that of assistant superintendent, but he was paid as a director. So I'm asking the board to make his salary consistent with that of an assistant superintendent and get him caught up from the beginning of the school year. 9.02, which is the approval of salary adjustments based on parts of the contract that speak to teachers achieving educational levels. 9.03, the approval of amending the retirement date for Kathy Kelly. She was going to retire at the end of the calendar year and has actually she had agreed to stick around a few months longer. 9.04, consider the approval of teacher mentor supplemental contract adjustment. 9.05, consider the approval of certified staff appointments to be approved. 9.06, the approval of certified staff resignation. 9.07, the approval of support staff appointments. 9.08, the approval of support staff resignation. 9.09, the approval of a substitute administrator. 9.10, the approval of leave of absences. 9.11, the approval of the supplemental contracts for 2015-2016 school year for certified staff. 9.12, the approval of supplemental contracts for the 2015-16 school year for non-certified staff. 9.13, consider the approval of CPR and first aid training for certified staff. 9.14, the approval of contract with Tracy Amenges to provide CPR and first aid training services for the 2015-16 school year to the preschool staff. 9.15, consider the approval of the independent contractors at TV 20 announcer. And 9.16, the approval of athletic production workers.
Okay, you need a motion for 9.01 to 9.16.
Could we possibly separate 9.01? So just a motion for 9.01.
Sure.
Need a second?
Need a second?
Support motion.
Discussion?
Okay, who made the motion? Mr. Williams?
Mr. Williams.
Who made the second?
Mr. Fallis.
Fallis, okay. Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Abstain.
And that reason?
I'm a relative.
And Mr. Damachia?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion to approve 9.02 through 9.16.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Williams was the motion and Mr. Sturgill was the second, correct? Okay, 9.01, I'm sorry, 9.02 to 9.16. Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
And Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
I'd like the board to consider the approval of a resolution for district document scanning and record disposal project. It's 10.01. I'll defer to the gentleman on my right for the next three.
For 10.02, it's the treasurer has to read some of the bid issues for these type of issues. 10.02 is consider approval of notice of intent to award a contract for the administrative furnishings of the new Lorain High School, and the construction manager is recommending the most qualified bid of $670,712.47 from the Continental Office Furniture Corporation. That's 10.02. 10.03 is to consider approval of a notice of intent to award a contract for the classroom and library furnishings for the new Lorain High School. And going along with that, the construction manager is recommending the lowest, most qualified bid of $263,500 from School Specialty Incorporated. Item 10.04 is to consider approval of a notice of intent to award a contract for the Career Tech Furnishings for the new Lorain High School, and the construction manager is recommending the lowest, most qualified bid of $92,750 from School Specialty Incorporated. And that is it from Mike. Go ahead.
And 10.05, to consider the approval of a contract with Allied Infotech Corporation for the services delivered during the 15-16 school year, and that's microfilm. 10.06, consider the approval of a contract with Achieve 3000 for services delivered during the 15-16 school year, and that's a reading program for credit recovery. 10.07, the approval of a contract with the Ned Show to provide a character education assembly during the 15-16 school year. 10.08, consider the approval of a contract with the Educational Service Center of Lorain County for professional development on instructional technology delivered during the 2015-16 school year, which is within the requirements of the Title IIA funds. 10.09, consider the approval of a contract with the Educational Service Center of Lorain for professional development on classroom management, differentiated instruction, motivating struggling learners, understanding poverty, and understanding behavior supports delivered during the 15-16 school year. 10.10, the approval of a contract with Blackboard for an integrated instant notification system for improved parent and community engagement. And 10.11, consider the approval of a contract with Blackboard for website and mobile app for improved parent and community engagement. And 10 and 11, and I can have Ms. Gedde elaborate a little bit, but in essence, it's a way for, right now, our parents have access to reach out and tap into resources that we have, social media, Power School to get updated on their children, to Twitter to find out what's going on in our school district. This allows them to select certain things they're interested in, and they're constantly pushed out. So instead of having to get the information, we reach out to parents, and that came as a result of part of the communications audit. Our parents said they want this. So again, we are a customer service industry, and we are, again, doing our best to engage our community.
Okay, motion to approve 10.01 through 10.11.
Support motion.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
And Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
And I'd also like the board to consider the approval of 11.01, consider the approval of designating donation levels for the new high school. And we have a document, silver, bronze, and gold, based on donation amounts. And the idea is to give naming rights to certain portions of the building, whether it be classrooms, auditoriums, libraries, based on the level of donation. 11.02, to consider the approval to partner and collaborate with the City of Lorain on various matters. And I'm hoping this is just phase one of the partners or areas for us to partner with the city on. I think there are a lot of things we're talking about, and I think it's all fantastic and truly win-win. This part of the partnership will allow us to buy salt and brine from the city and to save us money. To hire a mechanic for us to share services, and again, a way for both to save money. Number 3 is they have a paver which allows us to lay asphalt down, and they're going to enlarge a couple of our parking lots and increase traffic flows in a couple of our buildings that are a little crowded right now. It's Garfield and Larkmore. And by the fact that it's their machine, we get it actually at an incredibly reduced cost, and nickels on the dollar in terms of the amount of money it will cost us to do this, as opposed to putting it out to bid. And the paving of the streets that border the high school. Obviously, a lot of damage was done before the high school started, but of course, all the heavy machinery going on those streets during that project those roads are a mess. So we will partner in repairing those roads together. So again, when you look at the package, it's a great savings for both sides. Again, just working together and working smarter. And 11.03, to consider the approval to move forward with the design and construction of a new administrative center. The new administrative center, and I know there's a lot of conversation back and forth about where the people at Charleston go next year, and my assumption was they were going to stay in Charleston. I asked Mr. Hawks many questions on that because it's easy to support things that house children. We start about housing, upper administration, it's not as easy to get behind. The building here, and just doing some rough estimates, would cost a lot more to renovate to get to a point where it's usable. The heating, the boilers are gone. There are big holes in the roof. You can stand in the room and actually look out to the sky. Black mold in certain portions of the building that are blocked off. The amount of money it would take to repair this building would cost more than it would to build a new one. And 11.04, consider the approval of a contract with Tracy Menges to provide wrestling assessments for our wrestlers. And that's by Ohio High School Athletic Association rule. We have to have an assessment done of our wrestlers by someone who's certified to make sure that weight loss and gain is done appropriately.
I would like to ask the board if they could consider table item 11.01 simply to gain a little more information, take it back to the facilities committee and have some conversations on that. I think it's a great idea. I think, there's no doubt we're going to move forward with it, but there were some questions about it, and we'd like to get those questions answered and make sure that the motion that we pass, hopefully on the next agenda, is what we really want with that item. So 11.01.
Motion to table 11.01.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Table item 11.01, Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill,
Yes.
Mr. Fallis,
Yes.
and Mr. Demakia.
Yes. Now we need a motion to approve 11.02 to 11.04.
Motion to approve items 11.02 to 11.04. Support motion.
Discussion.
I wanted to make one comment, and that is, when we were doing the estimations for the building, for the administration building, we wanted to know what it would take to redo this building. And from all estimations, I believe it came up to like 1.766 million. And to put that type of money into this building would be, I think, somewhat absurd.
And if I could, Mr. Sturgill, I actually asked the same question because I assumed, I thought it's better for a number of reasons to stay here. Looking at the big picture, I don't agree. But yeah, I think the number right now is about $1.8 million, and there's always unforeseens that cost more.
Yeah, just things you don't perceive happen.
Exactly. In addition, this land is great land to use for other things that support high school programs that obviously if we redid this, we would lose that.
Yeah, I just think it's a good idea to build a new administrative wing. We have an entirely brand new district, so it doesn't make much sense to continue to use inefficient dwellings at this stage, and this is the best time to do it. So, absolutely. One question though is this going to be capacity to house all of the administration? Are we still?
Mr. Hawks, could you speak to that, please?
Yes, it would. Okay. High school and the facilities, it would, yes.
There was also savings in there that I think people, when we see figures, when we see $1.76 million, there's also the fact that there's a tremendous downsizing. I think we went from 60-some thousand square footage down to 12,000.
46 down to about 12.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, but it's still approximately 1/4 the size. So you're also not heating and cooling.
This is not the most efficient building.
How old is this? When was this built anyway? Approximately. Yeah, that long ago.
I think it's 1960 something on the near.
It was early
No.
late 50s, I want to say. It
was in the late 50s.
Was it?
I attended school here in 1960, so it was in the 50s.
Wow, you attended school in the 60s?
1960. Sure did.
God bless you, Mitch.
And you, there's no way, Mitch.
Yeah, that's true.
And you look that good? That's, no, I don't believe you.
Said the 60s.
All right.
No, 1960.
1960.
Yep.
I don't believe him.
Any
The
other comment?
Charleston Dragons.
He looks too young. No way.
Charleston Dragons.
I wasn't even thought of.
But like I said,
And roll call.
there's a lot more to the savings. than-
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a little bit more commentary. My understanding is that the administration building will be attached to the current high school,
It will be on the property, but not attached.
not attached, separate. And what's the construction timeline for that?
And we can have it up and running by the start of school year. next
Beautiful.
year,
Okay.
When the high school opens. Is that correct, Mr. Hawks? Yeah.
Within the same time, about a month later.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
As I understand it, this was part of the original plan and got away from that, hoping to resurrect this building, and again, not financially feasible.
And we used more of the LFI money, when we want to expand, and that's what's the money we were going to use. So, yes.
Good, good.
Roll call.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
And Mr. Demakia?
Yes. Any new business? I just, I don't know if this falls under new business, but certainly like to congratulate Mark Ballard and welcome him to his official first board meeting, and welcome him to the school district. Come start of January, he'll be joining us. So thank you for wanting to jump into this seat, and again, congratulations. Committee reports and requests from board members.
We do have a report, and actually, Mr. Ballard is going to deliver the report. We met with the, what's the committee? The Endowment Fund Committee, and we made our recommendations, and we made our, we reviewed all of the applications that came in and did some assessment, and we have funded quite a few initiatives. And there's a report that Mr. Ballard, who's also on that committee, is going to present.
I'll be very brief. This comes from Rachel Tansey. It says, Dear Endowment Board of Trustees, I've been on that board now for 4 years. Attached, please find the 2015 Fall Mini Grants Award List. For the 2015-2016 school year, the Endowment Fund received a total of 59 grant applications, requesting a combined total of $164,732. The Endowment Board funded 43 grants, totaling $79,699.08 from the Lorain City Schools Fund for Enhancing Education. An additional 5 grants totaling $5,501.26 were funded from the Lorain City Schools Fund for Fine Arts. And that is the end of that report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to those teachers who submitted those. Some were exceptional. There was kind of a range, but we deliberated and got some good work done.
Thank you. Second hearing in the public. Okay. We do need to go into executive session, but before we do that, our next board meeting will be December 7th, right here, same time, 6:30. And that will be a regular scheduled board meeting. We are going to executive session for items A, 7, compensation, and D, preparing for, conducting, or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment, and we will not be coming out making any action. So you need not stick around.
But you can if you want to.
Can if you want to. So I need a motion.
Motion to go into executive session for the items stated.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
And Mr. Demakia?
Yes. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
This has been a production of Lorain City Schools, TV 20 WLCS.
To purchase a high-quality copy of the program you just viewed, please call Lorain City Schools Television at 282-8400.